In the history of science fiction, the trope of the artificial intelligence has been used in a plethora of ways to explore deep concerns within society and question the philosophy of humanity. Whether it is the subservient and unwavering loyalty of the robot companion, the questioning what is humanity through the android, or the fear and concerns wrapped around the over-reliance of AI. Robots and all manners of sentient machines are normally used in sci-fi to explore more than just a living piece of talking metal or the unfeeling human-killing machine. In this AV essay, we will explore the double-sided coin of AI and robots and how they have been used in media throughout the decades, exploring human-centered concerns regarding morality, humanity, and more. The robot is usually used as an output to discuss human-centered concerns hidden behind either a robotic exterior or interior. One may just perceive the robot as simply a robot, but according to Barbara Klinger, when quoting Althusser, art is a special perceptual agency that performs a quasi-epistemic function. It literally makes a spectacle of ideology, and in so doing elucidates, even materially objectifies the presence and activity of ideology. Or simply put, seeing is believing, but there is always a purpose and reason why this was shown. It is to note that each depiction through the decades will have different morals and ethical dilemmas when addressing the artificial, as science fiction addresses the sciences and technologies of the time and confronts the threats and possibilities that these current technological feats could withhold. For this exploration, I will analyze a movie from each decade, starting from the 70s to the modern era, and talk about the differences and similarities within these films when talking about human-centered concerns. Our first instance of the AI we are going to analyze is the AI hosted attractions from Westworld. Directed by Michael Crichton and released in 1973, Westworld was a story of a computer virus infecting the robots of a futuristic adult-themed amusement park that has the host robot lookalikes go rogue and terrorize the human guests. This film was one of the few early depictions of killer robots and malfunctioning AI, harkening to the fear that the original alien invasion stories of the 1950s had told, but with a twist of the unstoppable menace being created from our own construction. Here, the humanistic issue is the fear of man-made disasters, harkening to the real-life fear of creating weapons of mass destruction that could one day go against our control. In addition to this, the film also subtly asks the question on the ethical implications of abusing and creating synthetic life, questioning the humanity of these AI replicas. This will be the first instance in our exploration that depicts AI in a negative light, mainly in the fear of technological advancement and the what-if scenario on if these man-made machines could turn on its creators. Terminator, 1984. Released in 1984 and directed by James Cameron, the film follows a woman who gets hunted by a disguised killer android from the future as she will one day give birth to the savior of humanity from extinction. The film, like Westworld in the tropes of a rogue AI, takes a darker and grittier approach as it splices in elements of time travel and apocalyptic futures. The AI defense network known as Skynet gains self-awareness in the future and triggers a global nuclear war to wipe out humanity. This goes back to the humanistic fear of a man-made creation turning against its creator. Another humanistic fear that is also deeply rooted in politics is the fear of an enemy hiding in plain sight, as the Terminator's whole premise is to infiltrate humanity, gain intelligence, and kill its targets. The political outlook could be a bit of a stretch to some, but Jean-Luc Comolli and Narboni state that all films are political and are all produced with an ideology in mind. One should analyze films in a multitude of ways that include philosophical and ethical lenses to really break down the ideologies of a creator and discover the film's real psychological culture and political transformation. The film also paints the AI in a bad light as it goes more in depth and fantastical on the AI's betrayal of humanity and what it could lead to in the future if technology continues to advance without being kept in check. Going from live action to animated, The Iron Giant, released in 1999 and directed by Brad Bird, is about a giant robot that crash lands from outer space and befriends a human boy while trying to hide from the US Army. The usual trope of the cold, unfeeling robot invading from outer space is flipped, as it learns how to feel the concepts of morality and death and the ambiguity of fate. This film also tackles on whether a sentient machine could tackle moral dilemmas that a lot of AI-based science fiction films question, as robots in AI films also question whether the virtual human can make moral judgments without also having emotion. Unlike our previous two films where the AI becomes antagonistic towards humanity, we have a robot that learns from humanity about morality. An interesting human-related output one can use to view the artificial intelligence is on the way they are depicted. Tillett and Vivian Sobchack argue that the depiction of the artificial life mirrors the very humanistic ideals and concerns one would both envy and fantasize. This can be seen in both Westworld and Terminator, as the whole concept of Westworld is to be free of consequences consequence and unchecked desire, as one can be the hero, the sexually deviant, or the killer. As for Terminator, one can look at the unkillable machine's physique and unstoppable nature and create a sort of masculine fantasy for themselves imposed on the machine. For the case of the Iron Giant, I believe that it breaks down that masculine pride and manpower, instead showing a softer, more vulnerable side to an otherwise cold exterior. The Iron Giant is an unstoppable killing machine, just like the Terminator and the Gunslinger in Westworld, but unlike the two, its soul and its conscience separates the metal man from the synthetic metal man. Going back to live action, we go to a film released in 2001 that had the writings of the infamous Stanley Kubrick and the directings of Steven Spielberg. AI Artificial Intelligence is the story of a highly advanced robot boy who longs to become a human in the hopes of regaining the love and trust of his foster mother who abandons him. This film has similar elements to my previous examples, tackling the morality of the android like the Iron Giant and the premise of synthetic people being used as a commodity like Westworld. However, this film takes the perspective of the android boy and his quest with his fellow robotic companions. The film follows the boy as he encounters the many aspects of the android people and how they are used, mistreated, and ostracized by the humans of this future, only being thought of as commodities that are meant to be used and then forgotten or disposed. The film is heavy in its humanistic concerns and influences as it harkens to the ethics of application and questions the machine's moralities. The main robot boy protagonist and his adult robot companion also show two humanistic sides of very masculine desires, the toy boy and the boy toy. The humanistic centered concerns that label the two according to Sobchack are two different sides of masculine urges. The toy boy, our protagonist, represents the male need for unconditional love, while the boy toy is the masculine want of being sexually proficient. AI, artificial intelligence, paints the androids in a sympathetic and overall good light. Our protagonist strives to learn how to be human, and the film depicts the pains and mistreatment of the AI as cruel and unjust. The film also talks about the philosophical humanity of these androids, as our protagonist is built to be loved by a mother, but does the boy know how to reciprocate that love, or is it all just programming? Ex Machina, directed by Alex Garland and released in 2015, is a film about a young programmer who wins a chance to participate in a strange secret experiment where he must assess the artificial intelligence of a female robot through interaction. The film, unlike the previous examples, is ambiguous and morally grey, as an ongoing mystery that the protagonist and the audience slowly breaks down as the movie progresses. The android woman is first to be shown as innocent and curious, but we begin to see something much darker in play that involves the toxic male CEO and his true intentions for this experiment. The android in this film questions the morality of creation just like AI artificial intelligence and whether an android can understand and reciprocate emotions. The film displays a humanistic concern on the sexualization and the misogyny towards the robot woman and firmly displays the morality of these actions as we are taken through an uncomfortable and in some points toxic experience. Androids and robots, when used in this sense, reflect on the masculine empty nature of control that empties the image of a usually emotional experience. The concept of the sex bot, which we have seen in both AI and Westworld, harken to the male fantasy of control and prowess in bed. Overall, Ex Machina is an exploration of the human concerns of toxic masculinity and the objectification of the opposite sex, whether flesh or synthetic, and shows the morality of these actions. After analyzing all these decades, robots, androids, and artificial intelligences have been used in a plethora of ways that harken back and evolved throughout the years. From killing machines to commodities for human entertainment to lovable giants and morally grey androids, the robot trope explores the many aspects of humanity's concerns that masquerade behind a synthetic material. Androids are a staple in science fiction as they allow two different perspectives on current technologies to be explored and question the future for better or for worse.